First one is fixed exchange rate or pegged exchange rate. Second one is flexible and floating, and more or less the same meaning. And the third one is managed float. So among these three, which one India is following? Managed float. These are the two extremes, we can say, flexible and fixed. So here managed float means when RBI intervenes to control the exchange rate in the market. This is what we call managed float. Now, but before writing this, first of all, we need to understand the basics. So here basics are, first we have fixed or pegged exchange rate. Whenever you will find a term which is fixed or pegged exchange rate in newspaper, it means that the central bank, that is central authority, fixes the exchange rate at a particular value. Suppose for example, rupees 65 per dollar. This is fixed by Reserve Bank of India, irrespective of the value of rupee or value of dollar. If you want $1, you have to pay 65 rupees. This is fixed by, it means this will not change unless and until RBI wants to change this figure. This fixed exchange rate is followed by which country? China. So here the example is of China. China is following fixed exchange rate. It means the central authority, the central bank, People's Bank of China, follows this particular fixed exchange rate. They fixes the value of, what's the currency of China? Currency of China? Renminbi. Renminbi is the currency, and most popularly it is referred as yuan, because yuan is the unit of that Chinese currency. Like for example, in United Kingdom, the currency is sterling, pound sterling. Pound is the unit to calculate that currency. So renminbi, and the unit is yuan. I'll explain what is devaluation, what is revaluation, but first just understand fixed exchange rate. Next one is your flexible exchange or floating exchange rate. It means it depends on the market exchange rate. Market exchange rate means, you remember the first class market mechanism. It means it depends on three important things: demand, supply and prices of dollar. So this depends on market. Whenever I will refer market or market mechanism, it means demand and supply of that particular product. So here product is dollar. So if we say that India is following flexible or floating exchange rate, it means the value of rupee is determined by the demand and supply of dollar and rupee in the exchange rate market. Can you give me an example of flexible or floating exchange rate? Which country is following? Example is United States of America and other Western countries, Western economies. Whenever I say Western economies, it means advanced economies, because it is a term in economics that Western economies means United States and Western European countries, popularly known as advanced capitalist economy or developed economies. Not talking about managed float. So you know the extremes. This depends on market and this depends on central bank. So this exchange rate is generally depends on the discretion of central bank, and this central bank has no role. It means only demand and supply plays an important role. Here we can say it is a mix or it is a blend of both the extremes. So managed float means when RBI is allowing rupee to fluctuate with the demand and supply in the exchange market. But if the time comes, then RBI can intervene in the market and will control the excessive depreciation or appreciation. Getting my point? Suppose for example, 72 per dollar is the current rate of rupee. 72 per dollar. Suppose for example, what is the normal rate per dollar? Normal rate you heard about, around 60, 65 for last full year, it was around 65, 66, 64, 63. So it means this is an abnormal situation. Rupee depreciates, you remember? Loss in the value of rupee. So value or demand for rupee goes down. So whenever 72, it comes as 72. You can take actions. Like for example, our normal is, suppose for example, these are hypothetical examples. Suppose I'm taking 65 as my normal rupee rate per dollar. 65. But how much I can stretch? Like for example, 70 and 60. So if the rupee comes, the value of rupee comes between these two values, the 60 between 70. RBI is comfortable. We'll make a band, 60 to 70, we'll make a band. And we are comfortable. Whenever rupee fluctuates between 60 to 70, RBI will not take any action, because this is the comfortable bracket according to Reserve Bank of India. These are hypothetical examples. That particular band is decided itself by RBI and they never disclose it. Now for example, 72, it means it breached the upper limit. So now rupee depreciates beyond our extreme limit. So if rupee goes beyond that bracket decided by RBI, then RBI will intervene in the foreign exchange market. Getting my point? RBI will intervene to control the excessive depreciation. If you're banned, it means RBI is comfortable if the value of rupee comes between 60 and 70. If suppose tomorrow value of rupee is 72, then RBI can intervene in the market to bring back the value of rupee from 72 to the comfortable bracket. Getting my point? Now for example, if you are reading newspaper, there's no sign of worry even at 72. It means this is in the comfortable bracket of RBI. So if rupee depreciates maybe in future in 1 or 2 weeks to 75, then RBI will take action. Recently, if you are reading newspaper, RBI has started taking actions. That is passively, not actively in the foreign exchange market. So we can say that we are pushing to a upper limit that rupee can depreciate. Getting my point?